All right, man. Well, everybody, welcome to Zoobox Interviews. And this is something new that we're going to be doing, and we're probably going to be going around the round tables. This is a good way to to know everyone in the podcast for people who are interested about the individual. And what today we're going to be talking to is going to be Mike. Mike is on the podcast. He's the straight shooter, the wheeling, dealing, mobile, fool out here getting shit done. How you doing today, Mike?
Good, man. Just wheeling and dealing.
Wheeling and dealing every day. So, just a little background about Mike real quick. Mike, why don't you tell us about yourself, man? What have you been doing, man? What brought you here today?
So me and Dan decided to do this podcast because I'm about to run my first 100-mile race. Last year I ran my first 50-mile race, and we're just going to be talking about why I do it and the reasons behind it and kind of how I got into it and what I like about it and the overall purpose of why I do it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, let's start off, I guess, what kind of led you into doing the ultra stuff? What led you to wanting to, because you did a half marathon, right? Before you did the 50-miler.
Yeah,
right?
That was, so the first race I ever ran was a half marathon. That was before I even knew about ultras. And it was just kind of something that I wanted to do to get into, to push myself. Because at the time, I thought a marathon was like this huge accomplishment that only...
So you're saying just the 26.2 regular marathon, right?
Yeah, regular marathon. I thought at the time, before I ran my half marathon, I thought 26 miles, 0.2 was this extraordinary thing that only extraordinary people did.
Sure.
Something that only a select few people could run. It wasn't like everybody could do it. And then, so I decided to start off with half marathon, which was 13 point something, whatever it is.
13.1, yeah.
13.1, and I did that and showed up late to that, woke up late, showed up late, ended up taking the wrong turn.
7 Ps, huh? No. I'm kidding.
Ended up taking but I was well trained for that. I trained, I did kind of my own training, just found a training program, roughly one of how people said to train for it on Google. And I was trained to run, that amount of miles, not fast or anything, but, probably at like, really probably at like a 2-hour pace. So, not super fast, but I was trained, able to do it, but I ended up showing up, I think like 45 minutes late, and took the wrong turn in the race and ended up actually running like 15 miles.
Hey, you were late and you ran a little bit. That was your punishment, I guess,
Yeah, so that was probably when I was 22, 21, probably 22. And then after that, I didn't do any running for a while. And then I got into backpacking and hiking. So I did,
right.
When I was 23, I did half of the Appalachian Trail, a little over half of it. And that got me into a little bit of more, because I met people on there that, they did these ultra races, which I had no idea the amount of miles that meant. People would just say, that guy in the front there, the guy that's leading the pack, the guy that's coming from the south in first place right now, that's going to finish the trail. He was going to finish the trail first.
In record time, right?
Not in record time. That's a different guy. But the first time I heard about it was just some guy that was doing it. He was going to be the first one completed it in that year in 2015.
Oh, for the season?
Yeah, for the season. And he was an ultra runner, which I had no idea.
Did you meet the guy, or did you just
hear
about
him?
Oh, we passed him. Did you talk at all, or was he just all business?
He was all business, because
kind of like, what's up?
Because we started from the north and went south. Most people start from the south and go north.
Because isn't it harder up north usually?
Yeah.
So you guys did it a little bit, probably the harder way. So you did the hardest part going down to progressively it got easier as you made it south.
Yeah. So we passed him in Maine in June, and he just said he did ultras. And then we met a few other people on the trail that did it, that people that passed us that were trying to break records or whatever. And then Scott Jurek that year was also trying to break the assisted record. And Scott Jurek at the time was a big ultra runner, famous,
Sure.
cameras, everybody knew him.
Yeah, he ran for Red Bull, I think. I saw a
Yeah.
documentary about
He
that.
was a big time runner that a lot of people know about. And, he was into the ultra. So that's really where at 23, I kind of got introduced to ultra. That was like the first time,
They ever
I
even heard about it.
heard of people doing 50, 100 miles. And then I heard of people doing, consistently 40 miles, 35, 50 miles in a row, like Scott Jurek trying to break the record.
Right.
So that's where I got, that's where I was first introduced to it. And then, always worked out after that and did running, but nothing extreme for the next couple of years, and did a couple 5Ks just for fun at like my school and stuff. Just, they're short, easy. And then, started listening to Joe Rogan and hearing about all these guys that, do these crazy races, and, just hearing these people's stories about how they run and the experience they have when they're running, and just what they go through, kind of, and what they talked about. It was almost, they were very, they talk about it in a way where it's a lot of pain, but it's also a lot of pleasure at the same time, which is a weird thing.
Sure.
And so that, and it was, they always talk about pushing themselves and how they almost broke, but, they overcame, and, they were at the point of giving up, but then they pushed through. And, I was listening to David Goggins there, his first time on Joe Rogan, and
Yeah.
I said, wow, this crazy son of a bitch is out here,
Yeah.
no training, goes out and runs this 100-mile or around this damn track or whatever, the 24-hour race. And so I just decided to, on that day, I just decided, hey, I'm going to do a 50-mile race.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
but you jumped in pretty head first, I would say.
Yeah.
You were like, hey, I'm going to take this you were very serious. So if you compare your preparation for your 13.1 mile, half marathon, and then your preparation for the 50 miler, I mean, you were completely different beast, when it came to the preparation. Because I know
Yeah, it
you
was a
got
lot
into your
different
diet
because,
and everything.
when I first ran the half marathon, that was like the first time in my life that I started to get into fitness and
Sure.
health, and, taking care of my body better, and, really, that was like my first introduction to fitness. And as everything else, you evolve. And even as a person, I was evolving during the whole time, that whole span. And then I got introduced to more things, the backpacking,
Right.
and then I, kind of became a workout nut, and, hit the gym a lot. So the first time I ran my half marathon, that was like my introduction into fitness, kind of.
Right.
That
So,
was,
but between you deciding to run a 50 miler ultra, was there anything else you did in between there for fitness wise? Because didn't you get into yoga for a little while?
yeah,
And
no, that's what I
uh,
mean. So,
yeah,
when that's what I'm saying is, when I first got into the half marathon, that was like my first introduction into real fitness, like
right.
to follow programs,
Mm-hmm.
to go to the gym, to train every day, to train 5 days a week at least
Mm-hmm.
consistently. And then over that, 3 or 4 year gap, I got really into fitness, got really, into following programs, going to the gym, doing a shit ton of yoga, did all kinds of work, for the next 3 or 4 years. So when I went into the 50-mile, I kind of knew how to train better. I kind of knew how to
Sure.
prepare. I knew what it was going to take. Even though I never ran those kind of miles before, I was much more acclimated to, I guess, the idea of working out and pushing yourself.
So would you say when you did your first 13.1 and then or half marathon and you were progressing your way up through your fitness experience, when you were
Yeah.
exploring fitness, and you really picked up probably a lot of discipline, I think,
Yeah.
is really probably because you look at your half marathon, sure, it was a little disciplined, but what, you woke up late, you took a wrong turn, so you added a couple miles, but then you go to your up to that, what, 3 years, you said? 4 years before you went
Yeah.
to your 50 miler. How long did you give yourself to prepare for the 50 miler? Because how long, well, even more so, how long did you give yourself to prepare for a 13.1 miler, a half marathon?
The 13 mile, I mean, the 13 mile one, the half marathon, that was, I don't know, maybe like 2 months. But like you said, I wasn't very disciplined. Me and
Sure.
Ryan were partying that summer a lot.
Yeah, right.
So it wasn't like, it wasn't discipline. I ran and I wasn't in phenomenal shape. I was in okay, like I could run 13 miles, but that's not that impressive.
Right.
Most people can do that. It's
I
not,
could run 13 miles right now, and I'm not even that good of shape. It would suck for a while. You
yeah,
know what I mean? It's completely doable. You
yeah.
don't have to be in phenomenal shape to do it, but a 50 miler obviously is a little bit more of you can't just jump out of bed and go do that.
No. So, I did train. I trained for the half marathon, I don't know, 4 or 5 days a week. But like you said, it was not, there was no discipline with it. It was just kind of, run these miles and
You weren't, keep watching your heart rate or,
no, no, it wasn't
watching how
anything like
fast you
that.
do the miles necessarily.
No, no.
Right.
So, but when I started, so that was like the summer, maybe 2 months I trained for that. And then for the 50 miler, I started running 12 weeks before the race.
Right.
But that's when I started running, but I was in pretty good, I was in really good shape before I even started running.
Right.
So I was in overall fitness shape, pretty good. So it
But
wasn't
not
like I was
but
just,
your cardiovascular wasn't necessarily
it was
up
pretty
that
good
high.
because no, it was, it was, I could run, my cardio was good. So your cardio and endurance running is a little bit different. Cardio, it was good. It was good. It was, I could run, I could run, 3 miles in 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Before I even started the program, it was
Yeah, that's
good.
real good. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really good.
it wasn't like I was out of shape. I
Hmm.
was in pretty good shape when I started training 12 weeks before the race. And so I went online. Actually, a buddy of mine uh, recommended a program called Mountain Tactical Sports Institute. They're based out of Jacksonville, Wyoming.
Oh,
Jackson
okay.
Hole. Yeah.
Jackson Hole, yeah.
Is it Jackson Hole, not
Yeah.
Jacksonville?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
Jackson Hole.
Yeah. Jackson Hole. They're based out of there. They're a great company. I bought the program like $86,
And they
and
just give you the program for 80. That's not bad, I guess,
no,
right? Would
no.
you say that do you think you would have, we'll get to how you performed a little bit later in the 50 miler, but do you think that would you have been able to perform up to the level you did without it? Do you think you could have trained
By
without that
myself?
program? Yeah, just figuring it out on your own. Do you think you would have
No.
performed as well? So you think there was a benefit to spending the
Oh
$86?
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, you would say if someone's looking into getting into ultra, I mean, how do they go? How
If
did you go about finding this company or
Well,
these
so a
people?
buddy recommended it to me, and then I read reviews on it, and a lot of people liked it, and some people had some really good success with it, and you know, just reading online, and there's other programs out there. I haven't tried any. I'll probably try other ones, but I'm the type of person where when I work out, I like to have a program so
Sure.
I know what I need to get done because it's kind of hard especially if you're going into it without knowing anything about it.
Yeah.
If you're a new runner, you should probably get a program because it's going to keep track of everything you need and make sure you're on point, make sure you're not overtraining, make sure you're hitting your points. And also,
Right.
some days you may just be lazy and you may think, well, if you come up with your own kind of program, I don't know. It's just kind of hard to, I
Well,
know this program worked. So,
are you doing the same program? Because you're about to run this 100-mile ultra. Are you doing the same exact training program?
yeah, but more miles.
There's more miles. But you've fine tuned it
Well,
yourself, or did you reach out to the company?
no, I reached back out to the company because they have a 100-mile program and
Right.
it's the same thing as the 50-mile program, just more miles.
Did you have to pay again, or?
No, they just kind of told me, hey, this is,
Oh
Uh,
wow, so they actually kind of helped you out.
well, they say when you buy these, they say they can be interchangeable. It's just different miles for the two.
Oh, so that's great. So that's a good thing for people to know.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Um, so they didn't tell me exactly how many more miles I needed to run, but just from my experience, I kind of know. They told me, basically the some of the runs need to be longer, and
Yeah.
what they kind of gave me was, about a third, about one quarter more of
Okay.
some of the runs. They need to be a quarter more length. So
Sure. So you're just adding more runs, more volume to
yeah, more
your.
volumes to my run,
Yeah. So you're just adding
to
a little
certain
bit
runs, not
more.
all of them.
Right. Right. There's definitely so when you're supposed to be one of your longer run days, you add a quarter. You add 25% of whatever that run is more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, that makes sense. So what's the max you usually run in a day? What's going to be your furthest?
Well, the furthest in the program is 31 miles.
Wow. What's are you working your way up to that right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the furthest you've ran so far?
17.
17. So do you add a mile every few days when
Well,
it's your
no.
long mile
So,
day or
um, the long mile is on Saturday, and then Sunday I ran 17, and then I run 14 the next day, and then the day
Mhm.
before that I ran 11. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
the miles fluctuate, and then some days, I may only run 4 or 5 miles, but they're really fast, and then other days I'll run 3 miles or 7 miles, but there'll be a workout in between there. So you
Sure.
have to work out first and then run. So it's not always about the miles in this, it's not just running miles in this program. You actually do gym workouts,
Right.
where
To build
you,
up your leg strength and your
yeah,
core
and
strength and everything.
stabilization, yeah, and core. They
Yeah.
do a lot of core stuff, and to build up some of those stabilization muscles in your knees, ankles.
Did you
They
do that
will,
for the 50 miler too? The same type of
yeah,
workouts?
yeah, the
So
same program.
well, I mean, guess getting back to the 50 miler. So tell me about that experience. How was your first 50 miler? Because you did all the training, so the training's pretty much consistent for both the 50 and the 100, as except for
Yeah,
volume of miles. So,
yeah. Well,
how did it go? How did the first 50 miler go, man? What was the experience like?
okay. So the first 50 miler was, I've never ran that volume of miles in weeks. So, I was putting a lot on my body, not knowing. And then
How many miles a week were you running for the 50?
it got up to, I don't know, I think the most is in the 70s.
Wow, so you're definitely going then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But during that program in week like 6 or 7, I fell off a roof.
Yeah. I remember that.
And
And so you're only a week or two out, right?
no, I'm
Or you
at that
had 12
point,
weeks?
yeah, at that point, I'm like halfway. So I couldn't move. My whole back was fucked up. I fell 10 feet off of a roof. And, I thought I wasn't gonna be able to do the race because I couldn't move. And I sat in bed for a week, 5 days straight. And then I literally said, I need to start doing something. So what I did was I was able to walk around. So I just walked 7 miles for the next week after that every day,
Wow. Yeah. So
just walking. So the
did
walking,
that suck, dude?
yeah, it sucked because, I
Yeah.
didn't have that much mobilization. And then eventually at the end of that week, so a week of rest, 5 days completely doing nothing, and then another week of just walking 7 miles a day. So I just
Wow.
walk 7 miles.
And then you felt pretty good after that week, or
No,
you
I didn't
felt all
feel
right?
good. I mean, but I could run. The only, you know, sometimes my back would hurt if I, did like a core workout or something. So I just had to be careful with that, with those kind of workouts. But with running, it was fine. Um, but it was just all about for me. During that time I was hurt. It was just about getting the miles in. Whether you, even if you're walking them, you're still building up those miles.
Yeah.
It's still better than doing nothing. So that's a good thing for anybody. Even if you're hurt or if you can't do something and you think you're going to get better, is to push through it and to do what you can. Kind of it's kind of one of those things where you just work around the injury. So I couldn't do a lot of core stuff because my back was fucked up, so I didn't. But I just would do what I could, and you can kind of sit there and make excuses or, get around it. And, I could have chose not to run or do anything and I couldn't run. So I just walked, I was just walking. Like
Yeah.
it's better to get the miles in, even if you're training and if you're overtrained and, this is for somebody training and if they feel like they can't make it, well, stop running and just walk the rest of the way. Even if it takes you an extra 45
Hour,
minutes,
yeah, whatever. Yeah.
it's better to get the miles in.
So it's really
To
just
get
about the
those,
miles. I mean,
yeah.
if you're really, you're obviously pushing yourself, but if you are, what's the point of pushing yourself so hard during training that you get injured and you won't be able to do the race?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to do that. So, you don't want to be overtrained, because you will get an injury. And,
Or fall off a roof. That doesn't help either. I don't think.
no, but I've almost gotten, I almost had other little injuries. Like I was doing too much. Like I was doing my Brazilian jiu-jitsu at the same time. And there were times, I'd go to jiu-jitsu class and then go on a run. And, you can just tell you're overtrained. You exerted way too much energy to be doing this. And you literally feel like your body's going to get hurt. I mean, you can kind of feel when you're overtrained.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when you're
Oh,
training
yeah.
a lot, you can kind of feel it. So, I had to cut out jiu-jitsu for a while and, couldn't do that during my training. But, so that was, that was the roughest part of the experience was getting hurt and then just, getting those miles in, walking. And really the training is the hard part. The training is the part
Yeah.
that kind of sucks. I mean, the 50
Well,
miler itself was fun. And it never, the reason why I did the 50 miler is because I wanted to test myself. I wanted to see what
sure.
I was going to be like when, I got to that point to where, bring it back to the people, these ultra runners that were on Joe Rogan talking about how they almost gave up, how they pushed through
Yeah.
in their stories and the pain they went through, but also the joy they found in the pain. I wanted to get to that point. I wanted to see what that was like. But during the 50-mile race, I never got there. Physically, I never, or my mind never went to that point to where it was like, oh my goodness, I can't do this. The
So
whole race was.
so would you say, I mean, since you trained so well and you obviously, so would you say if your training is hard, if you make your training difficult, at least for you,
Yeah.
that when you got to that 50 mile, your mental game was so strong and your physical game was so strong, you just never really got to the point where it's really sucked because you were so prepared.
Yeah. And it was enjoyable the whole time. I was enjoying myself because I wanted to do it. And it just never got to that point where I hear about these people talk about, they get to this point to where they think they can't go on, but then they find something in them to push on.
Oh, I
And
see. You're talking about digging deep. You got
yeah,
to dig where you're basically, you don't want to go on. You
yeah.
really, your mind is saying, just please God, stop.
Well, in your body.
Yeah, everything. Well, it's your mind. Your
Well, I know,
body,
but your body,
yeah,
your body's, your body's all jacked up. Like,
sure.
when you get to a point like these runners, man, where they're shitting or, they're
Oh
pissing
yeah.
blood or,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
their bodies are failing them, but they push on, they push through it.
Somehow, and that's why the mind is really the important factor, right? When it comes to most of this stuff, and
Yeah.
including the training, staying disciplined, staying, would you say, goal-oriented, focused on your
Yeah.
tasks and stuff. And so now that you've been training, because you've been training for this 100 mile or what for at least a couple months now.
So it's very similar to the other one. About a 12. Actually, this will be probably a 16-week total program, but
Right.
this is 16-week total program where I came into it completely out of shape. I was not in shape like I was
Right.
before when I went into the 50-mile run. So it's a little bit different. Not that I was super out of shape, but I was not in shape at all. Not when I started the 50-mile one.
Well, not compared to where you were before the 50 miler is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't gain 50 pounds and just lay on the couch for a year. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
You're still
but
in shape, but.
I took the
Yeah.
summer off and,
Mhm.
for about 6 weeks there, I didn't really do much.
Right. I mean, not everyone's David Goggin gets up every single day and it's just a madman.
So
That guy does that all year round, man. 365 days. That's what they say, and he's not bullshitting, I guess, from what they say. But who's been, I guess, what would you say is your greatest? So you want to discover pain, you want to put yourself mentally, obviously, and physically. But what is your greatest? What do you want to get out of this? What's the big thing? I mean, besides discovering the pain, do you just want to overcome something that that your brain and your body's telling you not to, and you want to fight through it? Is that really what it's about? Overcoming something, or is there something deeper rooted there?
No, there's something deeper. It's more about, for me, it's about, I kind of look at it like I'm running away from something,
Sure.
but I'm also running to something better.
Okay. Well, what would you be running away from then?
Just running away from some of my past, some of the insecurities, just running. But then also, see, it's kind of like a weird thing, because if I say, I'm running away from something, it seems like I'm completely getting rid of it. But that's not what I'm doing. But I'm also going to something better. That's kind of how I view it. It's like I'm running to something better. When I run these ultra runs, it makes me a better human being. It makes me better as a person. It makes me better
It
overall.
humbles you, more empathy.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think is the reason behind that? Why? Why do you think it makes you better?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because it allows me to see what I'm capable of doing. And so this can relate to all aspects of life. If, for me, once I kind of see, like, oh shit, I can run 100 fucking miles.
Yeah.
Fuck. What else can I do in life? If I can run 100 fucking miles, I can do anything else I want to do in life. So that's where the benefit is to me. You see, if I go out there and I run this 100 fucking miles and I do it in the time that I want to do it in, then it's almost like if you see yourself doing that, then you can see yourself doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man.
So it gives you this level of confidence that's crazy. It's like, you run this, if and when I complete this, it's, it's like life. Like, if I'm going to be able to say, oh, well, you know what? I ran that 100 fucking miles. I can do that. Whatever way in life I go, whether it's with business or anything in life, I can say, well, I ran 100 fucking miles. I think if I put my mind to it,
you can do it.
I can do it. I put all that fucking time into running and discipline and fucking doing this and, to run that. I think I can get through this fucking whatever it may be.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think there's no arguing that doing something that you really put your mind to and accomplishing that goal, it's going to give you, like you said, the confidence, but also taking away those insecurities about your old self, because your old self didn't know that it could be pushed that far. You know what I mean? So now that you kind of come out reborn in a weird way.
You do. You come out with a new self-belief of yourself.
So you really, but you didn't get that way after the 50 miler, did you? Or were you just proud of yourself that you accomplished it? What was the feeling? Because you said you never got to that the pain zone, or some people call it the pain cave.
Well, the feeling was, oh shit, I got to do more. That wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough. So you're digging right now. You're digging to find that place.
Yeah, the feeling was, fuck, man, like, if I did that and I didn't really, this may sound cocky, but this is just my own voice in my head. It was,
sure.
Oh shit, if I did that, I could do a fucking 100 miler. I got to try to do that, so that's where, but then that, that relates to all aspects of life. It's, I plan on starting a business soon, and it's like the same thing. It's like, well, fuck, man, I ran 50 miles. I think I could do a business. Oh shit, I think I could do this. Fuck, so you start gaining this confidence.
Well, wasn't it, funnily enough, you have a current girlfriend right now. But
Yeah.
did you run the 50 miler first, or?
No, I was training.
You were training for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when you met her during the training event or whatever.
Yeah.
So when you were training for everything and you were down in Myrtle Beach, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and you went down there, and, hey man, I'm not saying it's me because you stuck with her, but I helped. No, but Mike, why don't you give a background on some of your experiences with, like, was that something you think the increasing your physical ability, becoming stronger, give you that because you were confident then a little bit.
Well, I was really confident. Well, here's the thing also.
Good.
But I was also doing a lot of jiu-jitsu at that point.
Yeah.
And I was around a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
And the jiu-jitsu just made me feel so secure about myself.
because you knew you could fuck anyone up.
Yeah, I
Is it-
just
is it
felt comfortable.
Yeah, but so do you think having? I think it would be important for any person, but even especially young men to go. Because what do you think helps you more with your confidence? Would you say working out, jujitsu, the learning, the ultra running, and the training and the discipline, or a combination of all three? What really led you to get to the? Because your girlfriend, not trying to be rude, but is a very beautiful woman. It'd be very hard for any man to go talk to her. But you
Yeah.
were on it that day. You had one of those magical days, one of those everything was just hitting it right. The words were coming out smooth. Seemed like everything was like, you know what I mean? You couldn't do no wrong that day. I can see you smiling. I know you guys can't see it right now, but he's
Well, no,
remembering
she's
that
right
feeling.
there in front of my vehicle
Oh, really? Just looking at you?
doing a dance.
Oh, I bet so.
I'm not lying.
I bet.
She's walking away.
She walked away, folks. That's all right. Very beautiful home, though. Very nice home. But so what would you say really led you to that day, that moment? Think about everything before your life, up to that moment in your life.
It was probably a combination of not the running, because I wasn't running that much then, but I was in really good shape. It was probably a combination of. It was honestly probably the jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, well, because I guess going in there, because you in jiu-jitsu, you're dominating and then getting dominated all the time. I mean, it's constant. But your average Joe Schmo walking around the street. Now, do you size people up anymore, or do you just know that there's just a confidence that you have that you don't even have to size people up.
Yeah.
You just know.
Yeah. You don't have to peacock as much.
Yeah, there's no peacock because it's not even really a challenge you from. So I think that definitely helps you.
I think jujitsu gave me more confidence than anything else. But the ultra running gave me a confidence in myself and the ability to push new limits, to push new boundaries and not just in ultra running. This stuff relates to everything. So once you see yourself, run 50 miles, you're like, shit, man, I can do this, that, I can do whatever I want. I just did that.
Or if you can choke out a dude who's been doing jiu-jitsu a lot longer, it gives you a sense of
that does too. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you're out, you weren't afraid to go up and fail. You weren't afraid to go up and, hey, man, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Because you've been choked out and been beat up so much in the jiu-jitsu, it's a fact of life that if you have to go for that choke or you have to go for that move, you got to try to, get that opponent down. If you don't, then you never even know because you'll just always you'll just stay there in a locked position, right? Or in some sort of, I don't really know jiu-jitsu that well, but in a non-dominant position. So you'd really just get stagnant. So that's what it seems like it happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think if anyone's looking for confidence, join a jiu-jitsu gym, club, whatever.
I've never met a person that hasn't done jiu-jitsu and come out. They have all come out a better person. Or more, you got your assholes at every jiu-jitsu gym or dojo, whatever they call it, right? Every BJJ place, they always have. You're always going to have assholes no matter what you do in your life. So, but then again, there's a sense that in that place, it's kind of where you can kind of show those guys up too. And it's in a safer environment. You're not really going to worry about someone throwing a fist or, getting dropped or whatever.
Yeah. So, I think that gave me more of that kind of confidence. But what the running does, the running gives you, I guess running these ultras really opens up new boundaries for yourself and all that. You believe that you can do things. Just believe that you can do whatever you put your mind to.
Is it just the distance that gives you that? Do you think? Because if you weren't counting distance and you were just running every day, it wouldn't matter to you. You know what I mean? If you just went out and ran 25 miles and you didn't care, but do you think it's that 100-mile marker? You get that belt buckle or whatever they give you, and then there's that sense of, would you still do it if they didn't give you a belt buckle? Are you doing it just for the pride, internalize it, and?
No, I'm doing it because of what I said. I'm running away from something, but running to something better.
Sure.
It's like,
I wouldn't say you're running. I would say you're just leaving things behind.
Yeah.
In the dust and parts about yourself that Because I guess you kind of started out like you're molding yourself, right? Like you started out as something different, so now you're shaping and becoming a completely different. You are going to be a completely different person
Yeah, and
eventually,
Dan,
for sure.
it's like when I was talking to you the other day about, when I complete this 100-miler, I'm already thinking about the next thing. I'm already
I
thinking
know,
about going for the
I know.
238-miler,
I fucking love it. The Moab, you
you
know.
know? So we'll see how this goes, but that's, to me, it just kind of gives me it's more for myself it's kind of like one of those things where it's, when they talk about this running high, when you start to run a lot of miles, you just get in these zones and you just get in it
Yeah.
and it's just,
Do you know what was really cool? I don't know if you've seen the documentary, but there was a guy, he was one of the first people I think ever. He dragged a sled across Antarctica. He was like the first dude to ever do it.
hmm
It was all by himself. And
yeah, I
he
heard
knew
about this guy.
yeah, I think he was on Joe Rogan actually. And there's a great clip if you look it up, you'll be able to find it. But the guy gets into such a zone as what we're, a high almost. He had 48 hours, 53 hours until he would reach the center of it was the North Pole or South Pole, it was one of the two. And he just didn't stop for that 48 hours. And he just got into a zone. He said it just kind of felt like a few hours almost. Because he
Yeah.
got into this weird, your body is capable of, because of your mind, isn't capable of incredible things.
Yeah, when I did my 50, I mean, that literally felt like I ran out for like a 3-hour run.
Yeah. How long did it take you to do?
9 hours, 30 minutes, and 36 seconds.
Pretty damn good, man. That's pretty damn good. And that's up mountainous terrain. That's all
Yeah,
types of good stuff.
yeah. Down on the
So
border of Tennessee or Virginia.
nothing hurt during that 50 miler, huh? Not a thing. You didn't really notice any physical
Well,
pain
I
or
had,
anything?
I tweaked my ankle a little bit, but that wasn't anything big. It was just like a little tweak. I taped it up and kept on going, but no, it was
No hip flexor pain, nothing, huh?
no, nothing
So
like that. I mean, at mile 46, I kind of got tired, but then I only had 4 miles left,
well,
so
how tired? Like kind of? I mean, are you saying I could stop and it would be okay? Were
yeah,
you
kind of tired. That's what that means.
But out of 1 to 10 tiredness, how tired were you?
Like a 5.
Oh, so you were 5.
Yeah, I was tired. I was worn out. I just ran
Sure.
46 miles, but
Yeah, yeah, that'll do it.
but I don't even know. Well, I
It's
don't
kind of
really
hard.
know.
It's kind of
Yeah.
hard to measure, I imagine, because you never went past it, right? You never really went too much further
No,
past it.
I've been more tired than that.
No, I'm just saying, as far as compared to the 100 mile that you're
Yeah,
going to be
yeah,
going. So once you hit that 50 mile mark, you're probably going to feel, and it would be normal to feel a little tired,
yeah,
right? A little worn out, but you
yeah,
got
yeah,
a lot more left in the tank.
yeah. So they say like you can physically train your body for like 60, 70 miles, and then after that is
It's
more of
only
like your mental game.
damn.
So
Could you imagine that 238, dude? Mental for 100, basically another 100 miles. No,
yeah,
over 100 miles. Oh my gosh, another 150 miles.
yeah. No,
That's
another
that's
200 miles basically.
well, yeah, yeah, dude.
Um,
That's brutal. That's
so
brutal.
that's where I'm interested to see where. Honestly, in my head, I think I'm going to be fine to mile 70. And then I got this in my head because I hear this all the time from damn ultras.
Yeah,
Ultra runners, they always say, oh, people die at mile 70. So in my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to get really tired at mile 70.
just don't, man.
That's what
Don't let that cancer creep in, and then
I
you hit
know, it's
mile
just
70.
like
But
bullshit. It's like, okay, that's when you got tired, man. Like, come on.
well, I
Don't
mean,
put that
I
shit
think
on other people.
I guarantee when you talk to someone who runs a fucking marathon, they're at mile 22. Your legs are burning. They're on fire. It's like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
It's individual experience. I guarantee you, some people will run races and at mile 20 out of 100, they're hurting for some reason.
Yeah.
They're unpredictable, especially with the Moab 238. I mean, you're talking not having a medical issue, a serious medical issue, not having fatigue set into the point where you don't, pass out or something. It's very high chances you might not finish just because of all the variables. Every 10 miles, you add more to it.
Even for the best runners in the world. I mean, even on these 100 milers,
People drop out all the time.
Yeah,
right?
even some of the best ultra runners they have to drop out because they have pacing problems. They go too fast in the beginning.
Yeah, burn out.
They get injured on. I mean, it's very easy. It's very easy, even for the strongest runners, to not be able to make it for whatever reasons.
I think
Yeah.
something that's going to benefit you on this race in Charlotte. It's what is it called? The Monadnock 100, right?
Yeah.
If you guys want to
The
look it up, it's
Monadnock
pretty cool.
Ultra.
The Monadnock Ultra. It's basically a looped race. So it's
Yep.
five loops, correct?
No, 4.
Four loops, 25 miles a piece.
Yeah.
So I think that will benefit you because you're going to know the terrain by the second. But when you're on a
Yeah.
loop 3 and 4, you're going to be you're going to know where the good parts are, the bad parts are,
Yeah.
or at least have
And
a
I
general
think,
idea.
I think that's a good amount too for the loops, because I think if you go over that, like mentally,
Sure.
it's harder to do more reps.
Now it's like you're doing a quarter mile, just
You
really
know what I
low.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's harder for people, like, well, at least for me, I would rather lift heavier weight and do like 6 reps. But, it's mentally harder for me for some reason to do lighter weight and do like 15, 20 reps
Sure, I hear you on that.
for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. It's
So I'm kind of glad that it's 4 loops, because once I get through 2, it's like, shit, I only got 2 more to go. And then I get through that next one, then I only got 1 more.
more. Yeah, man. Oh, for
One
sure.
more.
Mental game wise, it looks like it could be. That's a good having that 4 chunks, and each time you finish a complete loop, a huge chunk is gone.
Yeah, and
It's-
then,
it's,
the first time I run the loop, also I'm going to be able to really monitor, my pace and be able to make sure I'm hitting the paces that I want to hit, and, make sure I'm hitting the amount, the time that I want for each loop. So if I do it right, I could do, 4.5 hours, 5 hours each loop.
Yeah, you're in good time. That's good time.
That'll be good time. I'll
That'd
be
be
good.
great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm really excited about, the loop. I mean, I think it's going to be beneficial to do a loop like that.
Oh, I think it's gonna be great. Having just anything that is, if it was a straight shot, I feel like those are a little weirder.
A straight shot's good too, though, man, because the straight shot's like, it's kind of cool because
You're just melting
you're
the
running
track
into
away.
the unknown.
Yeah, you're just melting the track away. There's no, oh shit, I hate this part. Oh man,
Yeah.
I can't stand. Yeah, it's just you're going. Whatever in front of you is in front of you. Put it behind you.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's, I would like that too. What I would not like is what these guys do is fucking mile loops for 100 miles.
Oh yeah, I've seen those guys do that. Looks terrible.
Like Cameron, I think it was this Cameron Haynes' son. They
Yeah,
did this mile loop, or it's like 1.1 mile loop.
yeah.
And
So
like
you'd have to do it
him and
90
his son did it,
sometimes or
dude.
whatever.
Yeah, him and his son
Yeah.
did it, and like his son made it to mile 90
Mm-hmm.
and gave up.
Well, I mean, giving up. Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough thing, man. I mean, you never really know what's going on in the mind of somebody, because even Christina DeWalter, arguably probably one of the best ultra runners, she stopped on her.
No, I know,
And
but
it sucks.
this is something that Cameron Haynes said. It says, you got to go those 90 miles to get those 10.
I mean, dude, yeah.
So think
Yeah.
about that. So
Yeah.
he's got to go 90 miles to get those 10 miles. That's something I'm gonna be thinking about when I'm running. If I'm at like fucking mile 70 or 80 and I feel like quitting, I'll be like, I'm gonna have to go 70 miles to get these fucking 30 miles. No fucking way.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
I hear you on that. No, that makes sense because, damn,
You got to
dude,
go 90 miles to get the
just
10.
10. Yeah, that sucks. I
When you
because
think about it that way, it's like,
yeah,
fuck.
then dude, you got 10. I got 10 miles. I just went 90 miles to get the 10, and I'm gonna stop. What am I, a fucking idiot? If you look at it that way, I can see it being a mental advantage.
Yeah.
I've encountered the zone pain cave myself a little bit. Maybe not with running and stuff, but there is a weird, your body and you're going to autopilot. You just
Yeah.
kind of do things.
That's what happened on my 50. I just went into autopilot.
If you get past it, there will be a pain zone, but you can get past the pain zone, I guarantee you. And then you'll be in I'm just here. I exist. I'm just existing and going. There is nothing else. The
Yeah.
trail is the trail, and then there's you on the trail. And you will almost have I imagine for me, at least when I would have almost out of body, I could see myself doing it.
Yeah.
So
And
it made it easier. I
you
separated
know,
myself,
you know what the worst part is, which
What?
it kind of, for me, it kind of aggravates me when I'm in it, is when I was running my 50, I would be in like a zone, and I'd be, just kind of in, you get in these zones and you just kind of are going, and then you come across a fucking aid station. And even though
Snaps you
you
right
need the
out of
aid
it.
station, you have to get, but it would like, I kind of got flustered with it a little bit because I'd have to get out of it and then get all back into it,
Well, I mean,
because you
there's nothing that
stop.
says you have to stop, right?
No, but the smart thing is to stop and, get fuel, get water.
Well, see, so
It's even
just
if you stop a little bit,
so you're
you
talking
can,
break that concentration, it's gone.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
gone because you're out of the zone.
yeah.
You're back with other people.
Do you ever
It's
get in those zones when you're running now? Do you still find the zones?
when I'm training.
Yeah, yeah,
No, not as much. Not as much as when I'm training. Training is not as fun as the race.
yeah. Seems like it, but hey, man, it's all
I'm
leading to that.
Yeah.
You-
No, I understand why I have to do the training, but the training is I wish I didn't have to do it.
I think that's how everybody feels, right?
You
If you
know,
could just
that's
show up and be world champ one day, I think most people would, you know?
yeah. But that's the hard part about it. The hard part isn't, well, to me it wasn't the race, it was the training.
And
That's what
is it still consider it that way though, right now?
Yeah,
Right?
the training's harder. Well, I don't know, I never ran this 100 mile, but the training sucks. I mean, some of it's fine, but fucking running miles and miles a day, especially where I'm running just on tar damn roads, it gets boring. It's all flat.
Yeah.
I'm just running on flat. I'm in Florida, northern Florida, flat land, and I just run on flat tar road, man.
There's not
It's
really nothing going on, huh?
no, it's not exciting at all.
No beautiful landscapes out there, nothing to
I,
look
I
at.
mean, there is, but a lot of the times you get looking at the ground where your feet are. With tar, you don't have to be much. Running on tar, you don't have to be aware of it, but running in trails, you definitely got to be looking down because you don't want to step on like a rock or a root. So I try to train my eyes to be looking down, so I don't,
Sure.
because I'm not used to running in trails for this one. So sometimes I just stare at the white line, man, and you kind of go into a daze.
So, just like a little metronome. Click, click,
Yeah,
clack.
but it's different. But that's different than like the zone. The
No, I
zone,
know. Yeah.
the zone
Describe the
where
zone. Describe the zone for me. What's your version of the zone?
so I got into the zone around like mile 11 on my 50, and I just followed this dude, and I was just fucking in the zone, man. Just
Yeah, but what is that feeling? Is it invincibility? Is it you just don't feel much at all? Is it hyper focused? Like what
to
is the
me,
zone to you?
okay, the zone to me is just time. uh, Time and miles don't seem to matter. They just kind of go by.
So you're just kind of in you're just in it. There's really no you're not really caring about obviously much.
No, and I'm focused on trying to catch the person in front of me.
Is there a sense of clarity that comes with that? Something just everything is just clear. Your just
Yeah,
mind is there. Just
yeah,
completely it's at ease, it's calm, there's no panic. It's just I'm here, I'm going.
yeah,
No
yeah,
pain in the body. You're not focused on it. It's just I'm floating. It's
yeah.
almost like
You're just
floating.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing, and miles go by so damn fast when you're there. That's why when you go into an aid station, you got to stop. You can ask Ginny, my sister. Sometimes I'd be a little aggravated because I would just come out of like a great place, and
I
I
hear
didn't
you.
want. I knew I needed to stop, but I didn't want to. Because the miles were just flying by. It was just, like you said, you're just kind of floating, and the time is just going.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
you have to stop, and you have to think about all this other bullshit. And it's like, fuck.
I've reached that place quite a few times. Maybe not a lot, but I'd say around 10, 15, 20 times in my military career. I got to that point where nothing bothered me. It just whatever. What's
Yeah.
next? You want 50 more push-ups? Okay. And you just do it. You don't think about it. Because once you stop letting yourself, and this is how I explained it to myself, once I stopped letting myself be a little bitch about it, I just stopped being a little bitch about it.
Yeah.
Once I stopped thinking about how much it hurt, it didn't matter. You know,
Yeah.
once I stopped worrying about when am I going to get smoked again? When is this going to happen again? I guess it's just like you. I'm not worried about the next mile. I'm worried about right now. I'm not really focused on anything else besides this moment.
Yeah, and you know, when I get in the zone, it's a lot of like self-talk. I'm just like talking to myself.
Do you kind of go in your head and you just listen?
Yeah,
And it's do you think about life? What do you think about? What's kind of a common theme, in your head?
when I'm running,
Yeah, when you get in that zone and you're
when I get in the zone,
mm-hmm.
I think a lot about my past. I think a lot about how I'm gonna prove people wrong.
Hell yeah, dude. Well,
That's like
I get chills thinking about that because that's what I think about when I'm having a real hard. Dude, just if I even when I'm having a hard time, I have to tell myself that I have to do this for me. But then when I get in that zone, it's like, dude, when you're fucking done with this, man, when it's over and you cross that fucking line, every single person that said you couldn't or that you're stupid or that you're wasting your time, they're all going to be wrong, and then you'll be on the king of mountain, the mountain, king of the
yeah.
mountain, man, fucking just being fuck you, fuck you. No, I'm kidding, but
Yeah, no, you know,
yeah,
some
that's
people
sense.
say, you know, I hear some people say, you know, don't, you know, they say do things for yourself and all this stuff and don't do things for other people. And it's not like I'm doing this for the other people, but along the way when I set out to do something or whatever it is, you know, and somebody saying this or that or whatever, and it's not even about the people telling me, "Oh, you can't run this." It's more about the people that told me other things in my past that I think about that I think, "Well, fuck those motherfuckers. Look at me now."
Yeah.
You know, I just kind of play that in my head. And you know, it's kind of weird because you hear two different thoughts. Some people use that to drive them, and then other
Hmm.
people don't want to use that to drive them. Other people want to, they don't want, you know, they think that's bad. They think that, oh, if I let other people dictate how I behave, or I shouldn't do things for other people, I shouldn't try to prove other people wrong.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like I'm not proving them wrong. I'm just proving myself fucking right.
Hell yeah. No, it's a
You
good
know?
way to look at it, man. And I think you're gonna find that maybe when you do reach the pain levels and you push past that, that's when it becomes for yourself. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? That's when this part's for me. That's what it's
yeah,
for. I think there's going to be a certain level that you may find in this race. And guess what, man? If you don't find it, we'll keep digging. We'll keep finding it for you. We'll go find something a little bit worse for you. You
yeah,
know, or maybe you just become the best runner in the world. I don't know, but I believe you can do whatever. Um,
yeah. No, I mean, you know, we're gonna see, man. I think, you know, I honestly think I'm gonna fucking do this without, if you know, bearing injury, bearing any major setback with that kind of stuff. If I'm healthy, I think I'm gonna be good. I believe this is not gonna be the thing that brings me down, the
well,
demon that
all right.
conquers me.
Well, I want to play a quick little game with you. So you're going to be. This is you talking to yourself after the race. What would you say to yourself? What would you say to yourself in that tough moment, man? Or let's even just do that when things are getting tough. If you were going to say something to yourself, what would you say to yourself right now? Because you feel good, you're not in pain, man. This is clear-minded Mike, straight shooter, fucking ready to go wheel and deal. And Mike, how are you going to
Yeah.
talk yourself? How are you going to wheel and deal yourself into the finish if you do hit that pain cave, into that pain zone?
How do I do it?
Yeah, what are you going to say to yourself?
Well, this is what I say to myself, man. This is what I always say to myself. I have another person that lives inside of me,
Okay.
and then this person comes out and he says, "Sit down, man. Don't worry about it. I got this shit. Just sit there. I'll take care of it. I'm gonna fucking handle it for you, Mike."
Wow.
What about this? Shut the fuck up, man. I got you.
So
I
there's
got it.
so you're telling me you have your bipolar or split personality disorder? There's a little man in there, huh? That he just kind
Well,
of he
then,
climbs up into your head
yeah,
like
that's
a
what it,
fucking
that's
like a little Power Ranger dude gets up there. He's like, "Fucking let's go, dude! Transform time or some morphin
well,
time, whatever that
that's what
shit."
just happened before, you know. And then in those
Yeah.
moments at difficult times in my life, there's I have another, you know, people think it's crazy, but it's just another part of me that
No,
I
but
don't know.
don't you think you only discovered about what do you call him? What do you call this guy? What do you call him? What's this other dude's name?
His
Yeah,
name's Mike.
is it Mike? But what, I mean, like, is it the same you? It's not the same you. So what do you call him?
No, I call him Mike because other people call me Mikey or Michael. not many people can just call me Mike, so that's
true.
just Mike. That's
So
just Mike.
So Mike wakes the fuck up, and
Yeah.
Mike's like, "All right, dude, let's rock and roll, dude." Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
I like it.
Mike's, no, but that's, I'll tell you a story. When I was, you know, when I was, I was living homeless for a little while when I was 17,
Yep.
and I almost broke there a couple of times. But that's the person that came out that said, "Hey, man, don't worry about this. I got this." Well, how you gonna do that? Don't. Hey, sit down. I'm gonna take it from here. I'll do what I gotta do to get this done. So you just sit there, Mikey. Don't deal with it. I got it. Well, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I got it. I got this. I got you. So I got you, man. Don't worry about anyone else. I got you. So that's the person that comes out.
Okay. Well,
That's what the person that's come out before. So I think that's the same type of person that's going to come out. That's just going to say, "Hey, you know what? You sit down. You relax."
Dude, how does the old Mike fucking feel though? The old Mike from 18 homeless, 17 18 homeless. I know hitchhiking all your way up to Keene and having all those experiences, and we can get that maybe a little bit more into your past in a couple weeks before another one before the race, so people can learn a little bit more about you. Since this one's mainly focused on the race, but would you say that that's where Mike was formed and hardened, and then that's kind of started your transition into who you are today? But what does that old Mike look like to you now? That old Mike, the 17, 18, no direction in life, nowhere to go, no discipline, no, you know what I mean? What does that guy look like to you today?
I mean, that's still a part of me. That's still like that. It doesn't look like any. I don't.
I'm not saying you got to be ashamed. There's no shame, but what I'm saying.
No, I'm not ashamed of that at all. That's
but
the opposite.
When you look back and you see that guy and you see where you are today, I'm not. Just think about how far you've come.
So when I look back, there were times in those days where I, maybe not envision myself this exact same way, but I envisioned myself being better. I envisioned myself. I said, that when that person came out, it was, "Hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take care of it. You sit down. Don't worry about it. I got it. I'm going to do the shit that we need to do to get this shit done." I knew that person was always in me, so I knew this person was going to take care of it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Sure. No, yeah, it makes sense.
So that old person it's not like an old person. That's still like who I am. I'm still that same. Obviously, I've grown and changed and had more life experience and, been, I've definitely grown, but it's still, I don't know. It's like, that's still me, I guess. It's still who I am.
I guess
it's not like I'm not that person.
That was the caterpillar. Time to become a motherfucking butterfly. Let's go.
Yeah.
Dude. You know what I'm saying? It's still a huge part of your existence and who you were, and it's still part of you to today, but you've really grown into a better version of that, I guess. A more, maybe not better is the wrong word, but definitely a more developed, more mature.
More developed. That's how
more creative, more everything, really, and that's, we can get into some of that stuff later, but as a final closing, what are you going to say? What do you want to say to yourself after you do it? Right now, say these words. What would you say to yourself in a couple months? So December 12th. Well, now 14th. It's December 14th, but now it's December 16th, probably, right?
Why?
Or would it be the 15th? 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be the 15th?
Yeah.
So it'll be the 15th, sometime on the 15th, and you just ran 100 miles, and your body's broken, and you're hurting, and you just did one of the hardest things to yourself. What are you going to say to Mike? What do you want to say to him right now?
Well, I don't know, man, what I'm going to say to myself, but anytime I've ever accomplished something, it's always like, oh, that was it.
You know what, man? And if you say that to yourself,
no, I don't know. I've always been disappointed. Every time I go to do something and I think, oh, I'm going to get this fucking degree, or I'm going to go run these 50 miles. You finish it and you're like, oh, I thought there would be something better at the end.
Please God, never never do heroin or any drugs because
Why?
you chase the dragon, man. That's what you do. You're chasing the dragon of pain or
That's what it's like,
glory
you know?
and success. I love it. No, and you got to have that attitude going into a lot of things because most people who end up, oh man, I ran a marathon. I'm complacent and they never do anything. That's fine. But that's just not you.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always like envisioned there'd be like this cool fucking thing at the end, but then when I get there never is.
Well,
Yeah.
there's always a little bit more. There's always a
You know-
little bit more.
You know what I mean? It's like shit. Like, oh man, like I thought this was cool, but like I thought it would be better almost type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't
for
know
sure.
if that's normal, but that's just how I felt about it.
I think we build things up in our head, and we do that as a way to prepare, right? So we over prepare maybe sometimes to
Yeah.
get really ready for these things. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity. I'm excited to see you do it and help you any way I can to get there because I'm going to be there. We'll be taking videos and pictures and stuff. So it'll be a great time. But I think you got anything else you want to say about it today, or do you?
No, I'm good,
any
man.
parting words?
No, I'm I'm good. If anyone's looking to get into ultra, reach out to us. We can
Yeah.
help you.
Why don't you give them your Instagram tag if they want to reach out to you?
Mike Point Jermaine 2.0. Find me on Instagram.
No underscore or anything?
I don't know. Maybe there is, Dan. I've
Shit.
honestly
You
never.
want me to look for you real quick?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I can look too, but fuck it, whatever.
Yeah, I'm already on. It's good.
But no.
You can also search at Zoobox Podcast on Instagram, Facebook as well. And if you want to email us some stories or you got any questions to Mike, you can either hit him up on Instagram or at zooboxpodcast@gmail.com. And that's a good way to get a hold of anybody in the podcast if you have any particular questions. But it is Mike, MIKE _ Jermaine, GERMAIN _2.0. Okay? So if anyone wants to get in contact with Mike, ask him some questions, or you just want to see him go on his journey, I think it'd be a great idea for you.
Or you want to do a 30-mile run with me.
Or you want to do a 30-mile run and you live in northern Florida. I guess, we'll see how that goes.
Or around the area. I'm looking for people, man, to do this fucking run with.
Yeah, you could definitely do that too. All right. Well,
30 miles. No, I'm looking for people to do my final training run with me.
Okay, 30 miles to do his final training running. Any good runners out there? Hit them up. That's all we got for today, and thank you guys for coming and listening. Mike, anything else?
I'm good, buddy.
All right, man. Fucking stay hard and keep shooting straight. We'll be talking to you guys later.